Niall. Well, more good evening to you joining us live from NEOM. Can you hear us okay?
Loud and clear.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for taking the time out this afternoon. You're joining us from NEOM House, our very first session. We've got a full house here, a few spaces at the front. But again, thank you very much for taking the time out. Over the next kind of 30 minutes, we're going to hear from you on a variety of different areas. But if we can just kick off with you talking us through the importance of tourism and travel, not only in the kingdom, but also what we're doing in NEOM.
Great. Well, thanks very much, Giles. And hello, everybody from sunny NEOM here. Delighted to be joining you, and I hope all is going well with you in Davos. Well, just to put global tourism in perspective, around the world last year, about 1.6 billion people took trips, spending 1.8 trillion US dollars, making tourism a really, really valuable export industry to many, many economies around the globe. It employed about 350 million people and accounted for about 10% of global GDP. So it's a real driver of the economy, it's a driver of jobs, and a big driver of social change in so many countries around the world. And to tell you a little bit, first of all, about what's happening here in Saudi Arabia before I talk about NEOM, to put it in perspective, what's happening here is a transformation program, really, in the context of tourism. Saudi opened its doors around 2019. It set a target of growing tourism from 3% of the economy back then to 10% as part of its Vision 2030 program launched by His Royal Highness. They're looking to increase employment in tourism to 1.6 million by 2030, and that's an incredible number. They set a target of 100 million visitors, that's domestic and international, and that was actually reached in 2023. So here we are in 2024, going into 25, with a revised target for 2030 now of 150 million visitors. So it's a phenomenal transformation program, and there's a current investment in tourism projects around the kingdom as a whole in excess of 800 billion US dollars, a staggering figure, really. And we have fellow GIGO projects going on around the kingdom. For example, I was down the road in Red Sea Global, an amazing hospitality program on the west coast of Saudi Arabia. In Riyadh, for example, we've got Expo 2030 coming down the track with some significant investment projects there as well. And of course, in the northwest of Saudi Arabia is where we fit into the picture in NEOM, which is the biggest project of the lot. And for people in the audience who may not be familiar with NEOM, to put it in perspective, NEOM is an area of about 26,500 square kilometres. It's a place about the size of Belgium in the northwest of Saudi Arabia, really well positioned from a tourism perspective, and some significant investments coming down the line, and from very exciting projects in tourism. For example, hosting the Asian Winter Games in 2029 here, a host city for the World Cup in 2034. And I think NEOM will be coming on the stage in the next number of years and providing a new destination for people to visit. And that's very exciting in the current time.
Very exciting. Thank you, Niall. Amazing. Thank you, Niall. Niall, we understand how important sustainability plays in the vision of NEOM, and it's one of our core pillars, if you like to say. We know that 100% of our energy is going to be renewable. So we'd like to understand how significant sustainability is playing in the travel industry, and also how is it transforming the global travel industry?
Yeah, you're quite right. Sustainability is a core pillar of what NEOM is trying to do. And it really is a fundamentally important part of the travel and tourism industry. If we went back to the infancy of the travel industry back in the 1950s, about 25 million people traveled around the globe. Wind the clock forward now to 2025, we'll see in excess of 1.6 billion people taking trips. And people are much more, I think, in tune now with the impact that they leave traveling around the globe. And I think people are conscious of it. They're prepared to pay for destinations that are paying more attention to sustainability. And from a NEOM perspective, we do recognise that. We have, for example, when NEOM is fully built out in phase one, 95% of our land will be reserved for nature. And that's really, really important. All the projects that are coming down the track in NEOM will be powered by renewable energy. And that's another demonstrable commitment as well. And I think in terms of our commitment to transformation and the whole area of regenerative tourism, in other words, leaving a destination in a in better shape than you found it. The idea of our commitment to the Saudi Green Initiative, planting 100 million trees in NEOM over the next number of years, and our rewilding program, where we're releasing new animals that were here 100 years ago back into the wild, the likes of the oryx, the Arabian ostrich. I've been out to see them myself. It's an amazing program of work that's going on as part of this transformation that's happening as part of Vision 2030. And I think the commitment to sustainability is really evidenced by what's happening. But certainly from a consumer's perspective, I mean, people are much more conscious of this. We're very familiar of the word over-tourism in tourism around the globe. We've seen it particularly in Europe, where Europe gets 600 million visitors every year. Cities like Barcelona, Amsterdam, Venice, coming under pressure from many, many people taking short breaks. And I think from a NEOM perspective, we're really keen to develop the concept of under tourism. People are looking for places that are less developed, less well-travelled, new on the world map. And I think that's what NEOM brings to the world stage from a tourism perspective in years to come.
Perfect. Thank you very much. It'd be great if you could just talk to us a little bit about the role of technology. Obviously, NEOM, we're very much positioning ourselves as land of the future, but particularly in travel, what is the kind of innovation and the application of technology, and what are we doing at NEOM?
Yeah, I mean, travel has been really probably at the forefront of the changes. Technology has been at the forefront of changes in the tourism industry for decades. And when you just look at what's happening at the moment in terms of change and transformation, AI, I think, is going to play a very significant role, and already is in generation of itineraries. So that's pretty significant. We're seeing a visual transformation taking place with the likes of Google Lens. We're seeing voice-powered AI with the likes of Alexa. So there's all these new tools that are out there that are playing a role in the whole area of creation of itineraries, suggestion of where to go, what to see, what to do. I mean, people are looking for ideas, and this new technology is powering a new generation. Visual is going to be much more important, and we can see that in the likes of platforms like TikToks, where there's hundreds of millions of video content every day, and that's having an influence. It's an influential marketing tool as well. So I think all these tools will play an important role, and from a NEOM perspective, we want to make sure that we're at the forefront of these when NEOM does get going in its tourism industry in years to come. So we're at the forefront of the conversation of technology, but also of the application of it, which can influence people in their choice of destination. Because I think what's important is that we're not doing it just for the sake of technology. This is all a very, very competitive landscape which we're in. People have a lot of choice, and we have to bring information to them in a very seamless way that makes the destination easy to understand, easy to get to, easy to experience, and when you get back home, easy to tell the story about on all these platforms.
Brilliant. I think what a lot of people are amazed by when they come to NEOM House and they speak to our amazing brand ambassadors about the project is just the scope of the regions. On a personal level, which of the regions is your favorite or kind of you're most excited by?
That's always a very unfair question to ask somebody in tourism. I headed up Irish tourism for 14 years, and I got myself into trouble all the time when I was answering that question. But I will say it to you honestly. I've made Saudi my home over the last 2 years, and it's been a terrific experience for me. People are exceptionally warm and friendly, and I've a great confidence in the future of the tourism industry here. But certainly coming to NEOM was a new experience, having been where I was. And I think the nature reserve which we have here in NEOM is really, really unique. The Hizma Desert, which I've been out to quite regularly, is a vast area, undiscovered, unexplored, and I think it's going to be a really powerful, part of the future of NEOM, because while we'll build these amazing experiences like Magna, Trojena, the Line, the islands of NEOM, and you'll have amazing experiences out in the Red Sea, incredible coral gardens, I just experienced something special within the Hizma Desert itself, and what the team led by Paul Marshall are doing in the nature reserve. When NEOM is built out in its first phase, 95% of our experience is out in this desert. And to see new animals being brought in, the regenerative tourism efforts that are going on, the regreening that's going on as well, it really is a place that people will discover as a new destination. And in a post-COVID world, that's one of the things that we're really learning from the research that we're carrying out. The world has been traveled by everybody so far. There's very few new destinations coming on the map. People are looking to reconnect with loved ones. They're looking to reconnect with nature, and they're looking for new destinations to explore. And NEOM is a very unique experience in that respect. And every time I go around the world, promoting NEOM at trade shows, I am asked that question. And every time I come back here, I'm amazed at the experience and the connectivity that I feel when I go back into the Hizma Desert. So that's my favorite. I'll be in trouble with all the regions in NEOM for saying that, but that's my favorite today.
Dramatic answer. And again, I think people are amazed by the opportunities that we have, all of us that live in NEOM. I'm a big diver, so getting out in the Red Sea. But you may have already answered this, but in terms of your weekends and, what you're able to do, just give the audience here an insight into some of the things that are available to us to do in NEOM on our weekends at the moment. Because I think it is amazing to get out in the nature and really kind of see what's out there. Just give the audience a little bit of an insight.
Yeah, look, in addition to all the usual things that we do in our spare time, like tennis or paddle, I find what's unique here, you mentioned the Red Sea. The Red Sea is an incredible resource, which the Saudi Tourism Authority have launched a major campaign on. It's bordered by 13 countries, but Saudi has the biggest border of the lot, and it stretches about 1,800 kilometers, and it's home to the warmest sea in the world and the most amazing array of sea life that you'll probably come across. And for those people who are interested in the simplicity of snorkeling or more complexity with diving, there's an incredible variety array of colors, experience. I think it gives you rejuvenation. I talk to the people in my own team who go out of the weekend and engage in these experiences. And for people in the future who are coming to do this, it gives you once in a lifetime experiences that you just don't get anywhere else. And I think that's what makes NEOM very special as a destination. And for those of us who have made it their home for the last number of years, I think we're very lucky to have a upfront premiere, in a way, of all these experiences. So we're very fortunate to have that experience of where you can have the desert to the sea, the mountains to climb, lots of places to explore. And we're looking forward to throwing out the red carpet in years to come to welcome many, many visitors here.
Brilliant. Now, if you don't mind, we're just going to open up the questions to the floor here. So, if anyone has a question or would like to ask something to Niall, just raise your hand and I'll hand you a microphone. Perfect.
Hello. I think it's probably warmer where you are than where we currently are. In terms of what's happening with NEOM Holidays globally, what would you say outside of the GCC region, what will become your key markets that you're looking to attract?
Yeah, really good question. So we've conducted research on where the primary markets will be, and certainly in the initial phase of opening, there's no doubt that there's a wave of Saudi pride. I can see it here throughout the country. A lot of our visitors will be domestic ones. And as you said, the GCC, when things bed down into a more mature state, the GCC will probably represent approximately 15% of our visitors. But the main markets outside of GCC that we see coming down the track from about 5 years onwards, you're looking at China, India, mainland Europe and North America, all settling in from our research at about 10% each, and that'll vary a little bit over time. So they're the markets where we're putting the biggest concentration into telling our story from a tourism perspective. We've already been out at big travel shows like World Travel Market in London, ITB in Berlin, IMEX in North America, for example. And there's been a huge interest in the destination, so that's very encouraging. And we're building relationships with the travel trade, who will be a really important source of business to us in years to come. And also we're building out platforms on the web and app, which will be launched in due course for the FIT market. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else with a question? Sorry, we'll come back to you. He didn't see you.
Yeah, hi. I'm curious, obviously NEOM is very technology-centric in terms of the kind of work you're doing and the way in which they're using technology to support the development and the utopia vision. How do you see technology supporting the tourism industry, and specifically tools around sensors, wearables, AI, and generative AI? Do you see that being a key part of your tourism strategy?
Yeah, I absolutely do. I touched on some of it earlier on. I mean, the transformation that's taking place within technology is always going to impact on tourism. And what you just mentioned there about AI is already playing a significant role. And there are a lot of tools out there that are developing all the time. And it's a delicate balance that we have to strike, because I think while technology is great, it's not a means to an end in its own right. We've got to remember that we are a business that's built around people. And, at the end of the day, the experience that you're going to have when you come to a destination and the experience that you're going to tell your friends about is largely going to be the one that you're touched by. It's the emotional experiences that you have. And the role of technology in tourism is just to make that journey easier. It's to make it seamless in a very clunky world at times in terms of traveling around. There are a lot of platforms there at the moment. But certainly in terms of the business of getting to NEOM, finding your way around, I think technology has a huge role to play. But I think in terms of delivering the experience, the people really are at the core of what we do. Thank you for that.
Perfect. And just whilst we're on the kind of subject of access to NEOM, it might be worth just explaining to the audience how we're currently served in terms of flights, international flights, because I think a lot of people probably don't understand, what our connectivity looks like at the moment and what it will look like in the future.
Yeah, really good question again, because at the end of the day, we can build all these great things that we're doing at the moment, but getting here, having affordable, convenient, competitive air access is a key enabler for the success of tourism. So right now, we have our own airport, NEOM Bay Airport. It's got a domestic terminal. It's got an international terminal. Domestically here, we're connected with flights into Riyadh, Dammam, Jeddah and Medina. Those airports do give good connectivity internationally. And in addition to that, right now, we're connected into London. We're also connected into Doha and also into Dubai and into Istanbul. And those are key gateways for onward connections to and from NEOM that can get you here within one stop. And that journey has only started. For the moment, it's mainly serving the population of NEOM people who work here. But in time to come, I think the key thing for us will be working in collaboration with airlines to make sure that we can deliver a very seamless, direct journey as possible into NEOM that minimizes the amount of time in the most comfortable way possible. But you'll be landing directly here on NEOM, which, by the way, within 6 hours is a gateway away from 60%, I think it is, of the world's population. So we're in a really good part of the world in terms of getting here, and the connections are something that will be very important to us. We've got airports that serve us well within very close vicinity, but we want our customers that we know that want to get here from North America, from China to India, to have a seamless and as quick an experience as possible. Thank you.
Brilliant. And we've got one question from the audience.
Thank you. You spoke a little bit about the environmental sustainability that is at the core of NEOM. Could you speak a little bit about the social sustainability aspect, so the social value creation that is expected by the implementation of the development?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I should have said at the outset, when we talk about sustainability in tourism, there's 3 dimensions to it. There's the economic part of it. There's driving jobs. Tourism and hospitality will be the biggest employer in NEOM in years to come. We mentioned the environment bit already, but social sustainability is really important. Within the kingdom as a whole, they're looking to drive and create 1.6 million jobs by 2030. But tourism fundamentally is about supporting the local community and making sure that they're engaged in the industry to deliver the experience. And this is what basically drives communities and drives communities at a local level. And that's very important to us here in NEOM. We've engaged very much with local tour operators already, local travel trade, to ensure that we deliver a unique Arabic experience and a unique NEOM experience for visitors when they come here. But thank you for the question. It's a really important point in tourism.
Thank you, Niall.
When will the place be ready for the visitors to come in, for the tourists to come to NEOM?
Yeah, it's a good question, actually. Someone asked me that. And Saudi Arabia is open already, and you can actually come into NEOM with a Saudi visa. But in terms of the delivery of assets, we have some key projects coming down the road. Trojena, for example, will be hosting the Asian Winter Games in 2029. That will be open for business later 2027. We've got Magna, an amazing strip of development along the coast of the Red Sea. Again, it will be ready in a few years' time as well. The line is another, this is really a multi-generational project which we're working on that will take a little bit longer. But I think you watch out for visitneom.com, which will be coming on the scene shortly, which will give you all the up-to-date advice in terms of where to go, when to come, how to get here, and all those technology tools that I talked about as well will come on stream to aid your journey too.
Brilliant. Do we have any more questions? Niall, I think unless you have any other closing remarks, we want to thank you for your time. So, yeah, if you've got anything else, please feel free.
Well, just to say thank you very much for the opportunity. I think it's really good to be able to have the opportunity in a place like Davos to reinforce the importance of what's happening in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia as a whole. Tourism as a major economic driver, a driver of employment, and significantly an real driver of social change. And that's the big change that I see happening here. I have many young Saudis in my team. They're really proud and optimistic of what's coming down the future. And having come from where I came, which in Ireland had a history of 250 years or more in tourism, it's great to come to a country that has opened its doors and really has a real welcoming spirit. And I'm really confident about the future here. And I look forward to welcoming many, many people to NEOM in the future. So thank you very much for the opportunity, and I wish you well for the rest of Davos. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Niall.